My early memories of the castle was when I was a young lad. I used to ride a bicycle down to see my aunt down in Raham, and I always used to be admiring the castle from the road with the beautiful chimneys and stonework. And I was delighted when I heard that there was a committee formed to restore the castle.
I was born in the Shadow of Grange Castle, and I have lived in the vicinity all my life, and actually played around the castle and the surrounding area in my young days. I have very happy memories of the castle, like, and being in it, like.
It first attracted the interest of a group of conscientious volunteers from disparate backgrounds and beliefs to form the Tyrrell Trust. They recognised its unique architectural qualities and its potential use, and united in their skills to save it in a sympathetic manner under the careful direction of their architect, James Howley, and about different aspects of Irish heritage, and a place where programmes uniting children from different communities and religious backgrounds, and indeed from the United States, can be put in place.
I think they've succeeded in bringing all classes and creeds and religions together. They really have gone out of their way to get very, very close cross-community cooperation, and I think the results are there.
The Grange Castle project is enormously important because it gives a southern focus to the shared heritage between Northern and Southern Ireland, and it also provides a practical opportunity for north-south cooperation.
Grange lies in the heartland of Ireland, in the northwest corner of Kildare, a county famous for its horses and the curragh, its picturesque villages and waterways, and St. Bridget's Cathedral in its heritage town. Within a short distance is the city of Dublin. Before long, tourists visiting the fair city, having tired of their shopping in Grafton Street, and looking at the numerous landmarks, will be able to break their journey to Galway, Connemara, or even Cork, by visiting Grange, an hour or so away. Its position on the border of Kildare, Meath and Offaly, and its proximity to the romantic Bog of Allen, the colourful town of Edenderry, and the source of the River Boyne, is significant in the proposed choice of exhibits at Grange. But why Grange? After all,
if you travel around the country, you're constantly seeing little ruins, old cottages, deserted castles, roofless ruins, and so on.
We invited two experts to give an objective appraisal of the site.
Very exciting to see it.
Yes, it's absolutely brilliant. It's
a magical
spot. Superb building.
And I love the trees around it and the crows.
It's a building at which you can see the medieval castle transforming into a house. In a sense, it marks the end of the Middle Ages. This is a building now to which I bring my students. I wanted to make the point about how, at the end of the Middle Ages, the military lifestyle gives way and people live in more, I suppose, sophisticated ways. If you look, for example, the walls are fairly thick and they're fairly forbidding, so clearly the owners of Grange are concerned for their own safety. But when you get to the very top of the building and you look at this extraordinary roof line of all these curving gables, that's a feature which had no defensive function whatsoever.
It's the beginning of sophistication.
And it's interesting, if you look at the building, on one of the windows and on one of the fireplaces, you'll see a Celtic motif. I think it's telling us that the Birmingham family began to identify themselves as Irish.
And then it has a very pretty Georgian pavilion right beside it,
Yes.
with a beautifully carved door case. It'll also be very educative because the River Boyne rises here.
It was the educational aspect that brought Eamon Mulvihill to the Tyrrell Trust. In the university's Museum of Archaeology, an Edenderry man has made his mark.
The Murray collection was originally acquired by the University Museum at the very end of the 19th century, mainly as an aid to research.
And just today, very excitingly, we have found these letters of correspondence between Thomas Murray and Professor Ridgway, including the original museum book.
Thomas Murray lived in Blundell House in Edenderry, and as well as being an archaeologist, he was the agent of the Marquess of Downshire.
Edenderry near Grange is an important illustration of one very significant aspect of 18th century life in Ireland, town planning. There are more planned towns and villages, almost always by landlords, in Ireland than in any other country in Europe. And among the Irish town planners, no family planned more towns than the Hillsborough family, Marquesses of Downshire. And what is very interesting is that the key marriage between the Blundell heiress and the Hill heir in 1786 was almost immediately followed by a flurry of plans and designs for Edenderry, including the Market House building, which, though somewhat altered, is still very much there today, as is the whole planned Downshire town of Edenderry. The entire massive Downshire family and estate archive is in the Public Record Office of Northern Ireland, and it includes very important documentation of Edenderry dating from the Blundell period. And we in the Public Record Office are, of course, delighted to be cooperating with the Tyrrell Trust and the Grange project, and we will be lending significant documents to the museum at Grange when it is set up.
The Tyrrell Trust applied to the government for European funding for the scheme.
We had many projects submitted to us, so the usage of it interested us, that it would be a home for a collection, which would be part of the heritage, going right back for the people of the surrounding district, and a heritage really that belongs not just to the people locally, but to all of Ireland, and to the Irish, of course, who have gone abroad. In that sense, we feel that we're putting our $250,000 in, as it were, to prime what we feel will be a project that will be of considerable merit.
Perhaps the greatest merit is the potential benefit for the local community.
Grange will provide a huge boost, even to the spirit of people.
People that are not familiar with the area wouldn't be aware of how deprived it is economically. There's very little tourist activity, a fairly high emigration. It has also suffered because one of the major employers in the area, Bordnamona, has had to cut back on the number of workers that it has there. So generally speaking, it would be regarded as a very depressed and deprived area.
I can think of lots of spin-offs, such as cycling, tours, I mean obviously accommodation.
It's great to see local community coming together to try and do something about that themselves.
The restaurant which we envisage will also create employment.
I give it wholehearted support.
Anything I feel that will benefit the local community is worthwhile.
There's quite a lot of local interest in it, and the local people are delighted to know that it's going ahead.
I feel, that it's going to be a great amenity. There'll be a museum there, and it'll be a fitting place for all the Irish immigrants to come home and visit it when it's complete.